Good evening, students. As usual, I'm your guide in nursing research. Today, we are going to look at research objectives. Yes, in every research, there is need for one to have objective of the study. What is research objective? Research objective, in essence, summarizes what is to be achieved by the research. All you intend to achieve, all you intend to get as a result of the research is what research objective tries to summarize. Without research objective, then there will be no direction whatsoever in that research. It's like you going somewhere and you don't know where you are going. So that is a research without research objectives. You have to define where you are going and set for yourself, okay, how many minutes or hours will it take me to get there? That is the essence of research objective. You are trying to summarize what is to be achieved at the end of the research or at the end of the study. What are the importance of developing objectives? The first one is it will give you focus on the study. It will make you to be focused because you know you have a set objective. You have a set target that you want to achieve. The second one is you are going to avoid collection of unnecessary data. Once you have an objective that is well spelled out, it will not allow you to collect data that you don't need for your research. So in essence, objective will try to avoid collection of unnecessary data. The third one, it will facilitate the development of research methodology and help to orient in the following areas. One is it will facilitate development of research methodology and helps to orient. Okay, it will help to orient in the following areas. The first is collection of data, analysis of data, interpretation, and utilization of data. So without a proper objectives, there is no way you achieve this. There is no way you achieve this. So it's very important for you to facilitate development of research through the following: collection of data, analysis of data, interpretation and utilization of data. It also helps for evaluating the research project. Research objective will also help in evaluating the research project. Then we'll now go to types of objective. What are the types of objective? The first one is we have two types of objective. We have the general objective and specific objective. In general objective, it is expected to be achieved by the study in general terms. There is no specification. There is no a clear direction in what you want to achieve. That is general objective. But in general objective should be clearly related to statement of the problem. So the first thing in general objective is the research is expected to be achieved by the study in general terms. Then it will also clearly relate to the statement of the problem. While in specific objectives, breaking down of general objectives into smaller units or into a logical connected parts. These are connected with the general terms, but they are specific ones you want to achieve. Then how to write general objective? General objectives should be clearly related to statement of the problem, as I earlier mentioned. Then low utilization of, for example, of a general objective is low utilization of family planning in clinic. You see, this is a general statement. This is an example of a general objective. Because if you are talking about low utilization of family planning in clinics, so you are generalizing in which area. If you want to be specific, you have to mention the area. So to identify the reason, in general objective, to identify the reason for low utilization of family clinic in, let's say, in Niger State. So this is still a general objective. But if you want to specify, you want it specific, then you have to clearly state that. How do you do that? How to write the specific objective now? One, you have to be focused. Each specific objective cover a single point or idea. E.g., it has to be in an order. It has to be in a logical order, ordered in a logical sequence. E.g., we don't put associated factor before prevalence. It has to be a prevalence before associated factor. Then it has to be realistic and feasible to answer. All your specific objectives must be realistic and must be feasible to answer, meaning must be achievable. If they are not going to be realistic and achievable, then there is no need for specific objection. Then it must be operational. Operational using action verbs such as one, to determine, to verify, to identify, to describe, to assess, to compare, to calculate, to establish, to explore. These are some of the examples of specific objective. You are trying to use operational using action verbs such as determine, describe, calculate, verify, assess, establish, identify, explore, and compare. These are some of the specific terms you use in a specific objective. As well as you have to avoid use of non-action verbs to appreciate, study, understand, and believe. So you have to be very careful so that you don't use non-action verb. Because if you say determine, describe, calculate, verify, assess, establish, identify, all these are action that you must act on them for you to achieve what you want to achieve. And specific objective must be measurable. Measurable outcomes at the end of the research. You should be able to measure your result at the end of the research or at the end of the study. Then one clear thing in stating your research objective must be SMART. If we say it must be SMART, the component of SMART, S-M-A-R-T. The S stand for specific. It must be specific. The M stand for measurable. The A stand for achievable. The R stand for realistic, and the T stand for time bound. All this, any objective that any of these 5 components, one is missing, then is not a research objective. The first one, I mentioned that it must be SMART. SMART in the sense that it must be specific, it must be measurable, it must be achievable, it must be realistic, and it must be time bound. Specific, you must know the specific goal you want to achieve. It must be measurable. At the end of it, you should be able to know this is what I have achieved. This is the result I have gotten. Then it must be achievable. Do you have the resources to carry out such research? If you don't have the resources, then you don't need to start the research because it's not going to be achievable. Then realistic. Is it realistic? What am I going to solve within the community? What impact am I bringing in? Then it must have a time limit. That is the time bound. how do you have a time limit? You can't just say, I want to undertake a research, maybe prevalence of cancer disease among women, the prevalence of breast cancer among women in Niger State. It's not going to be achievable. It's not, meaning it's not smart. Because in Niger State, you have to be specific. If you are going to take it local government by local government, it must be time bound. Okay, in first month, I want to concentrate in Bida local government. Okay, in the second month, I want to concentrate. It must have a time frame, a time limit in which you want to achieve your research. So in research objective, you don't use bogus words. You can't bring in words that you think, that you assume, that you think can be achievable. You have to measure it to ensure that everything is in order. Example of all this is, the first one is, this is a problem, unknown magnitude of diabetes in Minna Town. For example, if we want to look at a problem, let's say unknown magnitude of diabetes in Minna Town, how do we now measure this? Then this is the title. Then the title is Prevalence and Associated Factor of Diabetes Among Adults of Minna Town, North Central Nigeria. So if you want to go into this is general. Like I mentioned, prevalence and associated factor of diabetes among adults of Minna Town, North Central Nigeria. Minna Town, in Minna, there are different areas in Minna. How do you want to go about it? Do you want to start with Tunga? We have Chanchaga, we have different political words. So if you take it word by word, it will have been better. Because generalizing, how do you generalize? You have your form for data collection. You now say, this is Tunga, Tudunwada word 1, this is Tudunwada B, this is, for example, Chanchaga, this is Mekonkele. So you have to be specific for you to achieve the set result. Then, in specific objective, to determine the prevalence of diabetes among adults of Minna, North Central Nigeria, in, let's say, to determine the prevalence of diabetes among adults in Tunga, Minna, North Central Nigeria. You can see how specific it is. In Tunga, Minna, Niger State, in the year 2024. So this is specific because the year is there, the area is there. You have been specific. You know it is achievable. It's smart. This topic is very smart. You can, it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic, and it's time-bound. Because within Tunga, it's something you can undertake. Then also, another example of specific objective is to identify factors associated with diabetes among adults of Minna Town, of Tunga Town, Tunga area, Minna, North Central Nigeria, in the year 2024. So if you look at this one also, you are trying to identify some factors that are responsible or associated with diabetes among adults in a particular area in Minna, then North Central Nigeria, in the year 2024. Any year, you can use any year. Then another example is title, time to adjuvant chemotherapy and its determinants amongst breast cancer patients at the University of Technology, Minna, North Central. Let me take it again. Time to adjuvant chemotherapy and its determinant among breast cancer in Niger State, North Central Nigeria. So this is the title. So now we want to look at how is it general objective, is it specific objective. The first is to assess time to adjuvant chemotherapy and its determinant among breast cancer patients in Niger State. This is a general objective because it's not being specific. There is no year, there is the specific area is not is bogus. Then if we go to specific objective, to determine the median time of adjuvant chemotherapy among breast cancer patients at Federal University of Technology, Minna, Boso campus, North Central Nigeria. Yes, you know you are specific. You want to know determine the median time of adjuvant chemotherapy among breast cancer in Federal University of Technology in Boso campus, Minna, North Central Nigeria. So you are being specific. You know the location that you want to undertake your research. If you go there, it's a smaller area that you can achieve within a particular time frame. Then from there, you know the next line of action, whether to expand the scope of your research or not. Then the third example are general objective, knowledge, altitude, and practice of hand hygiene among health science students at Standard College of Nursing Science. So you can see that, for example, if you say general objective, knowledge, attitude, and practice, you want to know how knowledgeable, what is the attitude, and what is the practice of hand hygiene among health science students in Standard College of Nursing Science. You have not been specific because the year is not there, and you have not been specific. You can start and say maybe you want to know the knowledge, attitude, and practice among the male students. Then after that, you now take for female student, or you start with female student, then you now later go for male student. So in specific objective, you see that to determine the knowledge of health, because in the first one, in general knowledge, you say knowledge, attitude, and practice. 3 parameters have been used here. So you have to take them one after the other. Is it the knowledge you want to know? How knowledgeable people are about hygiene, hand hygiene? Is it the attitude of people about hand hygiene? Is it the practice? You want to know the practice? So because so many things are brought together, so it's not a good practice. So to that, if you want to go for specific, you say to determine the knowledge of health science students about hand hygiene at Standard College of Nursing Science. Or you can say to determine the attitude of health science students in Standard College of Nursing, or to determine the practice. So that general objective has been broken down into 3. You want to know the knowledge, you want to determine the knowledge, you want to determine the attitude, you want to determine the practice among the students in Standard College of Nursing Science in the year 2024. So these are specific objectives. Like I mentioned, any objective must be smart. If it is not smart, then it's not going to be achievable. It's not going to be realistic. I said smart means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and must be time-bound. And I earlier defined what objectives, what is research objective as a summary, or it summarizes what is to be achieved at the end of the research or at the end of the study. Whatever you want to summarize, because in chapter 5, you have result and discussion, then you have summary, then you have conclusion. Anything you summarizes the result. That is what is important. Each objective must be concluded or must be summarized as an item. That is the most important thing in research. So, and I mentioned the types of importance of developing a research objective. I mentioned the types, that is the general and the specific. I explained, we gave example. Then I mentioned objective should be smart, which I emphasize on. We gave specific example. And again, in objective, you must ensure that in each objective, the methodology you want to achieve each objective is stated. For example, you want to determine student performance in social secondary school in Niger State. What is the method? Is it statistical method? Is it questionnaire you want to achieve? You have to attach the methodology you want to use in achieving set objective. So like that, it's very key, it's very important in achieving objective. If you state the method or methodology in which you want to, it tells the reader or the supervisor, this is the direction in which social person is going, and he will guide you appropriately. Where he need to say, okay, why don't you use this method? I think it will be better. So we'll call it a day. Have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.